Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to it. Another amazing episode of the Pitchside podcast. And the lineup is amazing as usual. Let me start on the far my right. Auntie Diski,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good? Looking amazing as usual.
Thank you.
Hey, I wonder why not pete kahle. The smile these days
No.
is getting brighter.
No.
Nazo-ke. Yavela indaba.
Sabawela ukuphathwa kahle.
Sabawela ukuphatha kahle.
Yeah,
Mana ngathi soft, Red Bull, Champions League, medals, one trophies. Come here.
They said so.
Hey, come here. And you're here now.
I'm here to stay.
Let's take it back, man. Please take us through your journey. Tell us, where does it start for you, football?
My journey started in the Eastern Cape in Ngobo. Yeah, it's just a small village there. I just used to play with the boys. Then I went on to play in the Sasso League with the Thunderbirds. That's now playing also in the Hollywood Birds. Then I moved to Durban.
Okay.
When I went to do my first year, I stayed there for I think 7 years.
Okay.
Did university there, and then I've been playing since.
Ngobo lali.
Yeah,
Lusi
semakhaya.
inkomo.
Silusa inkomo.
Bele ngisusa inkomo before ndidlala ibhola.
Injalo. And the nickname yethu kuthiwa isemaseleni.
Wey,
Yeah,
hayi
so-
kusemakhaya ke mfela.
Nakusemakhaya.
All right, and then you go to Durban and
Yeah.
you studying there at that time, and then you start playing football there. How do you then find yourself coming to Mamelodi Sundowns?
After Durban, I moved to the Western Cape to do my postgrad.
Yeah.
Then I went to Spain, came back. But then I realized that I think we are missing out a lot. I think sithanda izinto sometimes.
Okay.
I think sometimes we just want to go and play abroad for the
Yeah.
sake of it.
Okay.
So I played there. I enjoyed myself. Great experience. But I think one thing that we forget is indaba yobuntu, financial and things like that. It's not as it seems as
Okay.
it is. So I came back because I didn't agree on some contract negotiations. Throughout the year, this year, in the middle of the year, I decided I think I had to move. I
Yeah.
think because of the level of football Sundowns plays and the level they play at, I felt like I wanted to be part of that
Amazing.
success also and just enjoy the experience of playing
Yeah.
Champions League.
Amazing.
Kholosa, you mentioned a very strong part about the educational element, right?
Yeah.
How important is it for an athlete to have that background? We know this is a short career, and a lot of athletes get to a place where they retire. And if you don't have anything to fall back on, basically, it's a bit of a challenge. And we don't want to have these names, Kholosa Biyana, Karabo Dlamini, Andile Dlamini, and then in a few years' time, there's no word about them. So how important is education, and why do you study? Do you see that maybe perhaps after this, going into the spaces of coaching or perhaps working in a portfolio under, sporting? I mean, Mamelodi Sundowns offers so many great elements where you can be like, I'm putting my hand up, this is the degree that I have. But how important is education, and what are your plans with regards to, what you've obtained?
Honestly, it's very important, but at the same time, I think times are changing, I think for me, the most important thing is to be smart about everything and just know what you want in life. For me, I was forced by my parents to go to school and play football, so I had to balance both. But I think for most players, it is important, it's very important. It also not just helps, I think, post-football, your decision-making on the field, the way you
Yes.
carry yourself. I think for me, I also did sports science, I did bio, so it helps me in terms of my football, how I play, recoveries, how I take care of myself. And also I just took it further to do football analysis, which I think that's what they do at Sundowns most of the time. I think it's very important. So for me, for now I want to play, enjoy myself, but at the same time learn as much as I can, and hopefully I will help the team also.
That's amazing.
Amazing,
I
right?
mean, somebody listening to this, that's amazing. You spoke about 3 qualifications in one sentence.
Yeah.
So, you're set to go, and that's very important. And I think this is something we just need to speak a lot more about. And you said your decision making with anything that comes your way. It be endorsement, it be sponsorships, it be communication, it being interviews and that kind of thing. I think those the educational background definitely helps us a lot, and
Indeed.
I think every athlete should take it serious.
Yeah, you spoke about Uktandi Zinto and chasing the international dream. Take us through your experience then of saying, when you made the decision to go to Spain? Was it, oh, I also want to be playing overseas? But when you got there, what are the challenges you faced, and how was that for you?
The first reason why I went there,
Yeah.
when I played in my first World Cup, we played against the Spanish team. It was top. So I was like, I wanted to play against these
Top
players.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I got there. I enjoyed myself. I actually had to take a step back, and I had to. I think we jumped. I jumped a few steps in South Africa in my development. So I had to step back and just focus on my development as a player, and just put the team first and forget about how good I am and what. Yeah. And then secondly, my first season was great, but the second season I think was challenging.
Okay.
You know, firstly the language. Secondly, I think the coaches, and it was so difficult sometimes. I wasn't playing and I couldn't express myself.
Yes.
And at times it was difficult to even ask and get an explanation and things like that. But honestly, I think the people around me, my teammates and their parents, they were very supportive.
Can you speak Spanish?
Sí,
Yeah, I can say sí, we can all say sí.
sí, muy bueno. Hablo español.
Hablo español. Hablo conjen champion.
Campione.
That's it. Yeah. And outside of that, it was just so you had the support of your teammates, their families.
Yeah.
Is the setting there that you come and you're received by a family, or how does it work?
No, when I got there, the team, like the coach was there, the head was there. But things change with time, you know.
Yeah.
You also get used to the environment. People get used to you. People don't treat you the way they treat you when you arrive, because they are always excited to see you. And at times, people feel like you're there to take their place and things like that. So at times, it's challenging.
Yeah.
But also being away from home, I think that's the most difficult thing, because you go back home, you're alone. You cry. You can't even explain yourself. Kunzim. Papa like brown, milu brown. So you don't know. It's very like challenging. And other than that, also I think to add on, financially, you know, you go there thinking people think you earn so much.
Yeah.
And then you get there like, so I think
is the money small because of what you're going through, or period?
No, ayikho ncane because of what you're going through.
Yeah.
Incane, you go there knowing ukuthi mina ngizothola this amount.
Yeah.
But also it's that thing of I want to play in Europe, so let me go and experience and see. So for me, I went there knowing ukuthi no, this money is not enough. But also I don't regret going there, because I came back a different player. Also the way I see things, the way I played, the decisions that I take, and how football is played. Yeah. I think for me, I understand football differently.
Sure. And then when you compare the level, so like you've just come back from Champions League, Champions League level to the level they were playing in Spain, how far apart are we?
No, there's a huge difference. I don't want to lie, but also there's a few teams that play good football. Like as far as close to Spain, so they. Also, their national team is great football. I think also the national team of Ghana is great. Yes. They're league players. They play well. Also, JKT was
Queens,
great. Yeah, from Tanzania.
Yeah, it's amazing because, I mean, some of these leagues you speak of have actually professional women's leagues that are happening, whereas we're still developing that. But for you to say that, yes, there is a gap, but we are closing in on it, becomes amazing.
To interject, right?
Interject.
We're getting there, even with the rest of Africa.
Yeah.
Currently, it's semi-pro for all of us, you know. But when you're speaking about leagues and the competitiveness and everything like that, you are a player who's played for a couple of teams within the specific South African leagues. You've been to Thunderbirds, you've gone to UWC, and now you're with the champions, rightfully so. What are some of the things that you are experiencing that become an advantage when you're playing for such a big team that you think maybe other teams can adopt? Because we want a competitive league, you know what I'm saying? So based on everything that you've learned throughout your career playing for different teams, what do you think we still lack here and here that could probably stabilize the league and make it, more of a dignified league when it comes to the scoreline or everything else?
I think for me, semi-pro is not good enough. Yeah. Also, given the fact that we also want to host the World Cup, I think it's not good enough. So I think for me, most importantly, is like the resources. And also, if you just wake up every morning you are dedicated and you have this one thing you are focusing on, which is football. You do a lot individually, you train, you do extra stuff. And Great Sundowns has the resources. UWC also, I think, resources. They have
universities,
universities
teams usually
definitely
have the structure.
So I think for me, being able to just focus on football for me would do. Imagine if all the teams focus on football. Imagine the UWC players. They must go to school. Later on, they must train. They must travel and.
Yes. Do you think the involvement of schools, starting from primary school, because development in football is a big conversation, and when you speak to people like yourselves, Nabo Andile and Roda Mulawuz, when you ask them about when they started to play football, they'll tell you they started to play football at the ages of 12 with the boys, because we didn't really have ladies teams back then. But we know that most schools had netball for girls and football for boys. So it was very difficult for you to even tap into that space and discover yourself. Do you think the involvement of primary schools starting to have soccer as an extra sport? I went to high school which didn't even have football, and this was not so long ago. I don't want to reveal my age, but still. Do you
Not
think
so
it's
long ago
important?
is relative as well. So
Is it a very strong foundation to make sure that we give, a platform to the growth, the grassroots all the time, so that when we get to the ages of 18, there's a little bit of competitiveness. We've seen with our little girls when they try and go for qualifying matches for the FIFA World Cup or friendlies, there's that big gap between us and international teams. And that's because we just don't have those development structures. So do you think that could have helped a Kholosa, a Makaya, having that?
No, I believe so. Like I say, when I went to Spain, I had to take steps backwards. I missed a lot from development. So I think for me, that's where I think if we get that right, we're going to go far. I was playing with 15, 14-year-olds. Like the girls that play for Barcelona first team now, I played with them in the second division. Like they are still 18, 17-year-old. Real Madrid just signed my teammate Olaya now. She's only, I think, 18. She won the World Cup under 17 and under 20. So for
if
me,
you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have believed it, because somebody had actually told me, and when sponsors go, brand sponsors, and they are looking for a player to sign, they are giving a mandate internationally to say you are signing athletes between the ages of 12 to 24. And when you look at us, African players mature at a later age. And that's because an 18-year-old overseas is playing in a professional league. However, with us, you're still trying to do that first trip, but that is crazy that you also are attesting to that, to say you were playing with kids that were young and you're looking at the development structures, they're there. And
it's crazy. A friend of mine has a daughter who is 13, and whenever they are playing games, we are the only parents there to support the girls. That still speaks to the story of how we really need to get behind our daughters, our sons.
Cultural shift.
The cultural shift of supporting the kids. And I also understand that our dynamics are different, because we need 2 income stream homes.
100%.
But we still need to find a way to break through, because we can now look at you and say, there's an example of how this thing can move forward, because even when you go to, for example, a UWC and you're on their program, you're getting the education, you're playing the football, and that means even after football, you've got an education to fall back on, as our parents have always said, which you must have something to fall back on.
No, it's true. I think just to go back to what Jess said about the sponsorship and looking for certain age. I think also there's one sponsor that I wanted to work with, I think 2 years ago. They told me I was... how old was I? I think because I was 26, they were looking for 18-year-olds. I asked them, if I only start playing for the national team at 24, how is it possible that I'll get a sponsor at 18? I'm from the Eastern Cape. You play in the Eastern Cape, no one knows you. People start knowing you at 24 years. And then at 26, 27, I play my first World Cup and I'm looking for a sponsorship. You don't want to give me. And then you tell me about age. It's really sad, but
I think there just needs to be a shift in conversation. 100%, we get it. It works for a different market. However, when they come to Africa, we need to establish a lot of things that are basically making it difficult. it's a delayed thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your peak, Nokomatlo is still playing football, and look at her age, you know what I'm saying? So I think for us, the maturity age is at a later stage, and there has to be a little bit of adjustment when it comes to these teams to understand how the African market is working.
Yeah.
But I see the companies up, so
I think it's amazing. We're going to have people who are educated, who have played the game, to now represent the next generation of ladies, because I think that becomes important, is the people who have the experience as well from, you know, having fought those battles, you know, which I think will be the next amazing step to take place in women's football and move forward. But also I know that you're the one person Kennedy Mwini complains about. He always says, I thought I had big calves, but what calf exercises are you doing that everybody else isn't?
Shem, it's genetics, but
Yeah.
it's genetics,
Yeah.
and ngiyazazi zinhle, and
and they are Shem, zona zinayo.
you must work hard.
Kholosa, speaking about genetics, sorry names, there's a young girl who's watching football, has your physique, and she's probably been turned away a lot of times because they felt like her physique is not going to get them anywhere. And I spoke to a player, and I made an example about you. I was like, Kholosa is a very well-built player.
Yeah.
We've seen her physique comes at an advantage. We've seen how she's conquered, and now you are here. And for a young girl, you need to motivate them and set an example. But Jongu Kholosa is doing it. They don't call her the fox for nothing. How would you then speak to that young child who's been turned away, or perhaps views themselves as if like, I'm not good enough? Babatla, these skinny girls that can just, you know, swing with the wind and be fast. Maybe I'm not going to be pacey and that kind of thing. Because it's a thing. You spoke about genetics. Genetics are things that we need to use it with advantage as best as we can,
100%.
you know. But without that conversation to the young ones to know, hore, you can be whatever it is that you want to be. Don't let somebody tell you that you are too short, you know, to be a goalkeeper or whatever the case is. What would you say to them?
I think first of all, for me, it goes back to also the coaches, the parents at home. Like, it's how you talk to your kids. It's how you teach your players. Like, for me, you tell them you are the best player. Like, you are good in what you do. You tell them they must believe in their strengths. Like, if I'm able to identify my strengths, then there's no way when uzong pikisa.
Exactly.
100%.
No one is going to argue with your truth.
I get so Gumi is that thing of your parents and your coaches. It starts there before it goes outside. If they don't believe in you, Bona, then it's difficult to also believe in yourself as a kid. But in the
Coach Jerry says you never pull out of a tackle, and it stresses him out because I tell you, lo muntu zathaku yellow card sigo final.
Yeah, sure.
Already nyambona ukuthi lo how you kahle lo muntu manje.
Yazi uthini? Kholosa. My chips. Kune VAR lana ne. So Shem, but I know I'm aggressive, and at times iyenzeke gaming. It happens
as well,
and also sometimes I also feel like mailing ngitluhlisa kancane. And a few coaches of mine, they tell me sometimes ukuthi, okay Kholosa, at times just step back kancane, sometimes guide them facing that side. But at times I believe ukuthi nabo, because they know I'm so aggressive, they
play
make
on
their
that
decisions based on my aggressiveness. Sometimes khathelwa mina, there's against Asfar, I think bangishayile ureferee like at some point bengathi akakho worried ngami but I think she made a perfect and correct decision. Wamniki yellow card. All of a sudden she stood up and she walked out. Bebefuna ukuthi ngithole red card. But I think Coach Terry, not just him, I think even South Africans sometimes they tell me, no, I'm too aggressive, sometimes I must, and I believe so, but I'm working on it.
I'm working on it.
It's got its advantages.
Yeah, it does, but at times it puts me in trouble.
In the game, are you able to tell, because we did speak about this in the other conversation when you got your first yellow, they're going to be dancing around you, you know, to just make sure. You always want to eliminate the strongest opponent. So we already know they have a bit of a weak link with the fact now she's on a yellow, so we're going to dance around her. Are you able to tell when those attempts are made for you to, you know, create those fouls, and how do you then pull yourself back, you know, because you said that adrenaline is part of the game?
No, once I get the first yellow card, I know automatically
that's
I
the
must
switch.
So
but
when I
does it
don't
stay top of mind?
No, I
So
forget. I forget about it, but automatically when I go for a tackle,
Yeah.
I don't go as aggressive. It's the same as if I'm chasing. Let's say I'm chasing someone. I go 1v1. Izo click I can with no yellow card ngamthinti. Wabo. So, but ngiyakhohlwa yona. But if ndiya go tackle, kancane. I know once I get a yellow card, I must relax.
Yeah.
If ngekayitholi ke hayi. It's
That
fine.
into ya.
Yeah, sure.
Kholosa, how do you deal with fatigue? You spoke about fatigue earlier. You just came back from Champions League.
Nginika ama-wings yangizama yo.
We still have a bit of, not a stretch, but we still have a couple of games to do our treble. National call-up for the WAFCON qualifiers. 4:10, we blink, the season is back again.
Yeah.
So there's not really time, time is luxury in this
Yeah.
industry. How do you deal with fatigue, especially being in this industry? Because at the end of the day, when that whistle goes, we're all looking at you. People need you to be in high performance, but there's things that you need to do, the work that you need to do in making sure, Guti, I deliver what people expect me to deliver.
I think honestly it's difficult when you're tired, like it's difficult to be in the same level. But as an individual, I think most important thing for me is to rest as much as I can, get enough sleep. And I at times take supplements that are going to assist me with obviously the advice of our doctor. I think also our coach and our trainer, I think they're very smart. Like for example, if you look at our game, the
Previous one,
Previous
game
one,
we
yeah.
played,
Yeah.
TUT. Players who played more game time,
yes,
in the-
rested.
they rested.
Yeah, we saw
I think
them
which is
with
so smart.
Regina and then
Yeah.
bring it back. Yeah,
I think which is so smart because also that's manager
Yeah.
which I think that will help us get to the end of the year. But we have to work
pushing.
and
yes, yeah.
Let's talk about lifestyle now. You moved from Engcobo to KZN to UWC to Joburg.
Yeah.
Where have you enjoyed living and why?
I think
Ooh,
Durban.
Spain. Yeah,
No.
Durban.
I think Durban. I think I enjoy Durban.
Yeah.
It's very warm. The beach is there. Nabantu ba nice. Zulus and Xhosas, I think we had the connections.
Really?
Yeah. And I think I enjoy Durban more.
Yeah.
But I'm here now. I don't think I'll ever go back to staying in Durban or Cape Town or Spain.
Engcobo?
Hayi, ngisayenjoy. Engcobo kusekhaya.
Yeah,
Ngavuka nakusasa ngigoduke. Yeah.
They must do a parade. Galoku, you're a champion. You know they want to make sure everybody in the street knows.
Eish, abantu bayazi.
Bayapokota lapha ekhaya?
Bayazi shem and bayahlupa but ke asikho lapho. Mina mangibuyele
Peacekeepers
ekhaya.
Sundowns.
Rest. Hayi.
So mabuyele ekhaya, do people come literally and knock at the door and be like, yo? So
They're always happy to see me. No?
Yeah.
They're always happy. When they know I'm around,
Yeah.
they're excited to see me because bengidlala nabo.
Yeah.
And actually, I still go out with them, sidlale.
Yeah.
But I don't actually play.
Yeah.
Nah, but yeah, I organize.
It's nice to be there and
Yeah.
and
Oh,
get
That's
in
nice.
touch.
Yeah,
Organizing.
Dustin futhi.
Hayi mnandi yona.
Gogo.
Mnandi.
How does it feel to be a Champions League winner?
No, it's great. I think when I came here, when Coach Jerry called me, we spoke, and that's the mandate. Like, that's one thing he wanted for the team, and that's also one thing I wanted. When I got here, there's this guy I met on the first day.
Yeah.
Athi kimi uzowina i-Champions League ke. Athi ngizoyiwina.
Yeah.
And atshela ucoach ukuthi mina ngithe ngizoyiwina ayikhona. And I'm happy and that I'm a champion. I think for me the most important thing is that just to be consistent
Yeah.
and try and help the team as much as I can.
Yeah. Coach Jerry promised us 3 trophies.
Yeah.
He's delivered 2. So no pressure, but we need one more.
And
One
I
to be
haven't
sitting
I've,
there
and I've never won
checking.
the Hollywood bets. So
You've
that's
never
also
won
my
it.
goal.
Yeah.
It's
That's
my goal.
No, it's
lovely.
happening.
Izokwenzeka
You want
vele.
trophies? Come here. Trophies are here.
Here to stay.
Kholosa, adjustment ne when you came home. I call it home galoko. When you came to Sundowns, how was the adjustment? You can imagine all eyes on you. 10:04 news breaking. The Fox joins Mamelodi Sundowns, and how was it? Was it an easy transition for you? Because I know there were some players from the national team that you just came with from the World Cup, so it was a little bit easy for you to have friends, as opposed to just coming into the new squad. But how has it been also moving from the football adversity? Because we know there are different structures when it comes to university football and being at Mamelodi Sundowns.
I think Sizile is going to Spain. I think coming back, I was different. The way I do things, training, just everything. So I didn't struggle as much, even though it was a very tough decision for me to take, and I took it in the last day. And some of the abantu bebesho ukuthi uyaphi I knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know? And Coach Jerry was very, very welcoming, and he explained what he expects from me. And
tell us about the difficulty though of making the decision. What goes into making a decision, because it's a life-changing decision. Moving province, moving.
That one was very difficult, and it was a sad one for me because I had spent 2 years with UWC, 3 years, and they've helped me a lot in terms of my development, especially in high performance side. It was a tough decision for me, but it was a decision I had to take. I had to put myself first in everything. I spoke to the team and the coach, and they understood. Sometimes as a player you grow up, you grow old, so it's a decision that I had to take. I looked at my age, I looked at the achievements, where I haven't played, what I haven't won, and Sundowns was the right team to join.
And who's your support system? So who do you consult on such decisions? You know, how do you make the decision? What's your support structure like?
With decisions like this, and also going to Spain or changing teams, I decide.
On your own?
Yeah, I decide on my own because it's going to affect me one way or the other. So I decide, and I always tell them after I have decided, because I don't want umuntu ozongishintsha ingqondo ukuthi I don't go, it's not a good decision. What? I just put myself first and see how I'm going to benefit, the people I'm going to work with, how they are going to benefit. So if I'm happy with the decision,
Amazing. And when was the last time you did something nice for yourself, where you didn't think about anybody else and you said, Lalela, for example, Khaleli stock sweet, and you was tangeli stock sweet. Malik 200 kamacin.
Angazi ukuthi I must choose a specific one, but in kuzinto engizenzayo lately, like I just put myself first. Anginandaba. And coming here is one of those decisions. I think I took the right decision. And I'm happy to be
Rolex,
here.
Things are happening.
You're rolling it now. This guy. Hey, live, Yes,
rocking a Rolex. No, Andile was here with a Rolex. Umnandi, win Champions League. Thank you very much for joining us. We really do appreciate it, and congrats. We're waiting for one more trophy. We want to sit here and just another one.
Setus. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Masandawana, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comments. This is the Pitchside Podcast.